Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's early. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Let's get into it because there's a lot of information and there's still information coming out. Good morning, Jackson. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Facebook. Y'all, this is crazy. And it's crazy, but again, I keep stressing the good news is that the baby is okay. And it's real. This is crazy. This is a really interesting situation. So let's get into it. Um, on the screen, the little boy is Baby J, and Baby J is standing next to his dad with the jacket on and the high top fade. That is Jamal White. And then you've got Baby J, who's also Jamal White. You've got over to the left, all the way to the extreme left, Jamal White's twin brother, Jamel White. Okay. In the center, you've got the mom and the baby mom to Jamal, who is Shavon Williams. And no relation in the dead center is Corey Williams. We're going to get into everything and everyone. I've put up a couple of posts you may or may not have seen who who's who and what's what. So we're not going to spend too much time on who's who and what's what. That's what those other videos are for. Right now, all of the questions, what's going on? Why is there no information? Um, there's a lot of internet sleuths, right? So the police need time, space, and opportunity. I see you, boo boo. Um, they need time, space, and opportunity to be able to do their jobs, right? And because, social media can definitely help, but sometimes social media can get in the way. I think also because there is a child involved. And this is a weird situation. Thank God this boy is alive. Thank God that nobody was physically hurt, but this is weird. It's very weird, and it just shows you how it's crazy. I'm going to read to you as much as I have, and I just got the Corey Williams complaint from Milwaukee Circuit Court. Basically, what they're charging him with, the probable cause narrative and everything. I have so far. I don't know if he's made his first appearance yet. They were saying that he was, but we already know he had a $75,000 bond. But I don't know if he sat in front of a magistrate yet. But this is going to be extremely messy. As everything comes out, it's going to be extremely messy. But let's get into these two situations first, and then we'll go from there. Let me just see what I got lined up. Oh god. Okay. Is everything lined up just right? Okay, we're going to see. I got this. I just want to make sure everything is lined up, and it was before I went live, but okay, let's get that away. Okay. This this. Okay. Um okay. All right, how's everybody doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I know it's early. Um Jackson, Dim folks, bomb got here first. Thank you so much. I appreciate that always. Okay. All right, let me pivot screens. We're going to do this one first. Okay. Can y'all not yet. Okay, let me take this down off the screen. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Turning now to a disturbing story. New details from the abduction of a 7-year-old boy in Milwaukee.
The DA's office filing formal charges against a 25-year-old accused of being one of the masked men who took Jamal White at gunpoint last Friday. The court documents painting a disturbing picture of the alleged role Corey Williams played that day.
For more details tonight, we're joined in studio by Adam Reif. Adam?
Well, Natalie and Jessup, authorities say this was a botched robbery that turned into a ransom case. 7-year-old Jamal White dragged into a car at gunpoint last Friday when 3 would-be robbers did not find their intended target. One of the men arrested said it was all the idea of a 14-year-old boy. The original plan was to rob Jamal White's mother, according to suspect Corey Williams. Williams was arrested and charged with 3 felonies for being the driver last Friday. A 14-year-old boy and 38-year-old man were also arrested. Williams claimed Jamal's mother was a known drug dealer who flaunted her money. Williams drove his girlfriend's Jeep. The other 2 brought guns, but when they did not see Jamal's mother, they went to his father's house to rob him instead. Surveillance video shows the 14-year-old and 38-year-old jump out of their car with guns drawn. When Jamal's father ran inside, they grabbed the boy. Video from a neighbor captured his screams. The kidnappers sped off to Williams's house. The 38-year-old called Jamal's mother and demanded $100,000 plus jewelry in exchange for the boy. They were to meet at a nearby park. Jamal later told police he heard his mother on the phone say she would come pick him up, but he teared up in the interview when he said she never showed.
That broke my heart. He heard his mom. You know, kids, they might not know time, but they know when it takes a long time. And mom says she's coming and doesn't show up. A mess.
Williams told investigators the other 2 kidnappers talked about hurting Jamal to show they were serious. But that never happened. When an Amber Alert went out around midnight, the other 2 left Williams's house. And when police moved in on the duplex the next day, Williams hid in the attic. Jamal was safely recovered in the upstairs unit. Williams was found and arrested. The 14-year-old was later arrested at his house. A black handgun was found under a couch cushion in the basement. The criminal complaint says there are recorded phone calls in which the 14-year-old talks about the plan to rob Jamal's mother. And Natalie and Jessup, neither the 14-year-old or the 38-year-old have been charged yet. Their names have not yet been released.
I'm sure they're gonna.
Adam Reif, live in.
I'm sure they're gonna be charged. They're probably just figuring out what to do. I mean, a 14-year-old is pulling strings of a 20-something-year-old and a 30-something-year-old. And then this clown goes and borrows his girlfriend's car and gets his girlfriend's vehicle. That would not be my boyfriend anymore. Do you imagine your stupid ass boyfriend takes your car to go and kidnap a child because he wants to go rob his mother, and then can't find the woman and goes and hunts down the father and snatches a child? This is the dumbest thing. That little boy is so lucky he wasn't hurt, because to me, I think sometimes stuff happens when you've got stupid criminals. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they make one mistake, then they make another mistake. Somebody's gone. You know what I'm saying? Just a mess, right? Okay. So some of this they may have already said in the report, but let's just entertain it. Because, you know, some reports will have different details. So it says criminal charges are now filed against them, because, you know, it still says pending on the website, but we'll get to that. Criminal charges are now filed against the man accused of kidnapping 7-year-old Jamal White. Corey Williams, 25, is charged with kidnapping as a party to a crime, taking hostages, and contributing to the delinquency of a child. So he's also being charged with being stupid with that 14-year-old, because I'm sure contributing to the delinquency of the juvenile delinquent is going to be the 14-year-old, right? According to a criminal complaint, police spoke with the child's father, who said that on July 11th, a white Jeep drove up to the front of his house while his son was riding his bike out front. He said several people jumped out the Jeep with guns in their hands and he ran inside the home. He said at the time, the people grabbed Jamal. I think his dad, I think the grandfather's Jamal too. So he's not a junior, and I don't even know, but there's a bunch, a bunch of namesakes. So we're just going to stick with, Jamal the dad and Jamal the son. He said at the time, the people grabbed Jamal, baby J, and put him in the Jeep and fled eastbound. Jamal White, Milwaukee police. So this is, Jamal White, Milwaukee Police Department. Detectives reviewed surveillance footage from the area that shows Jamal riding his bike while the Jeep turns and blocks the residence on West Houston Street. Police say two individuals get out of the Jeep, and one of those people chases the father as he runs into the home. The other chases Jamal and carries him back to the Jeep before fleeing with both suspects in the vehicle. Officers located Jamal the following day, according to the complaint, in the upper unit of the home on 36th and Lloyd. Prosecutors say Williams was found hiding in the attic of a duplex. I think I pulled it up on Google Maps. Girl, it's like 7 miles away. Hold on a second. Is this the Houston Street? Girl, all right. So here's 39th and Lloyd. Hopefully y'all can see this because I'm not on that screen. Hold on. Girl. This is 39th and Lloyd. And I think this was Houston Street up here. But even with this route, it's about 18 minutes. And they said somewhere around 7 miles. Okay. 7.2 miles. Yeah, 7.2 miles. Can you believe? I cannot even imagine. There were rumors. We'll talk about the rumors, but some people were saying that this was like a GoFundMe plot, all of these things. I'm not really sure how that comes into play unless the mom was like, okay, let's use this to our advantage. I'm not sure if that's what happened or not. I'm going to be honest with you. It could have, but I don't know. I'm sure it's all going to come out. So just, be patient, because I think the police probably wanted to try to have as little interference as possible so they could figure this out, because at the end of the day, it's a 7-year-old. You got a 14-year-old who clearly has issues. For a 14-year-old to come up with this type of a plot, this kid needs intensive counseling to be able to be amongst, to be able to function out here. If this is how his thinking is already developing in terms of a criminal mindset, this 14-year-old is probably more dangerous than the dumb 25-year-old, just to be honest. So, this is absolutely nuts, right? Do they suspect the mom was involved? We're not even there yet. I don't think so. I mean, based on what I'm saying, let's get to that. So right now, this is the plot. I don't know if you just came in, but the plot was to rob her. So I don't know that she would be involved in someone trying to rob her, but she allegedly is a known drug dealer, according to CBS News and many other news outlets. According to Corey Williams, according to their investigation, she was targeted because they say, and it has been alleged, that she is supposed to be some sort of known drug dealer, and she flaunts her money online, and they were targeting her to rob her. So that's what the police report says. We're going to read that in just a second. Did she scrub her? Okay. Let me go to her. This is her Facebook. Now, she look, these days you don't know what's what and what's going on, but she's got her little Lululemon pouch on and a stack of money. I didn't know what she did. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just because she's got on a bunch of jewelry, I can't validate what's real and what's not through the computer. But you know, she does. She's got a couple of click clack bracelets on. She's got some diamonds. She's got, you know, what looks like could be a diamond watch. You know, I don't know. People watch people online to some people watch people online to see what they have, what they don't have. I don't know what, you know, we don't know what she's got going on, because just because people are flashing designer, there are a lot of good fakes out here. She could definitely be putting money into real luxury items, but we don't know that to be true. Okay. But this is her. And apparently they say that she is a known drug dealer. I don't know about his father, but that's what they say she does. Now, this is her on a family trip. Okay. All on her Instagram. Okay. Notably, when I did come to these, to the Facebook, I noticed that she doesn't have any pictures booed up with his dad. So my assumption was that they were not together. And also, I saw his dad with a new baby. Now, I don't know whose baby that is, if that's his baby or not. But if he's got a baby and she doesn't, you know, if he's got, you know, he has a infant and she just has baby J, then it's clear that maybe he's moved on, or we don't know what's going on, but I don't know that they're together. That's just my assumption. Okay. So anyway, let's get back to this. Okay. So, officers located Jamal the following day, according to the complaint. And I'm going to read the full complaint to you guys. I got the full complaint with the charges and the probable cause statement. Officers located Jamal the following day, according to the complaint, in the upper unit of a home on 39th and Lloyd. And I just showed you the map of that. So in relation to where the house was and the route to 39th and Lloyd. So it was about 7 miles away, about 18-mile drive. And this is one of the people who they're charging. There's also a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old. Prosecutors say Williams was found hiding in the attic of the duplex. Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, this is their police say the child said while at his dad's house, a man chased him, grabbed him by the back of his shirt, and took him. He said he was in a car with 3 unknown people who drove to a house where police found him. Once inside, he told officers he heard the driver, later identified as Williams, talking to his mom, who said she was going to come and pick him up, but never did. The complaint says during the interview, William told investigators that about 2 weeks prior, he'd been contacted by someone who wanted to rob Jamal's mother. He claimed the child's mother is a well-known drug dealer and that he'd seen her with bricks of drugs during FaceTime calls. Williams told investigator he picked up the other individual in the white Jeep on July 11th and removed its license plates. He said he, along with 2 others, bought guns along, and with a plan to go to the mother's home and rob her at gunpoint. Williams told investigators when he got to the residence, they waited but never saw the woman. So they decided to rob Jamal's father instead. He said he was driving the vehicle and his two passengers ran out of the car with guns towards the father. One of them grabbed Jamal and took him into the Jeep. Complaint says Williams told detectives the plan then changed, and one of the other individuals contacted the mother demanding $100,000 and jewelry in exchange for the child. Williams told investigators he originally promised $10,000. He was originally promised $10,000 for his part, but demanded more money after Jamal was taken. He said the woman never arrived, and once they learned of the Amber Alert, the others involved left Jamal at Williams' house. He admitted that when police arrived, he left Jamal in the bedroom and hid in the attic. Prosecutors say one of the other people involved in the kidnapping, a 14-year-old who is also arrested. Williams is due in court, which was yesterday, July 17th. Okay. This is a mess. That was the plot. I don't know that it was there. Now, I don't know what the mom's thinking was. If she was thinking, oh, okay, he's actually really kidnapped, well, then maybe we'll do a GoFundMe. And there was a whole rumor about a GoFundMe. I don't know anything about that. I don't. I'm just going with what the police reports are saying. Let's see this one. Prosecutors filed charges Thursday against man arrested in connection with abduction of 7-year-old Milwaukee boy on Friday, sparking an Amber Alert. Corey Williams, 25, is charged. So they went from robbing a drug dealer to robbing the drug dealer's baby daddy to kidnapping the child of the drug dealer. That's what it sounds like. That's what they're saying. Prosecutors filed charges Thursday against the man arrested in connection with the abduction of 7-year-old Milwaukee boy on Friday, sparking an Amber Alert. Corey Williams, 25, is charged with kidnapping and taking a hostage. See, according to the criminal complaint, Williams was found in the attic of a duplex near 39th and Lloyd, where the boy was found Saturday. When the Milwaukee Police Department detective spoke with the boy, he said that he was in his dad's driveway. A man chased him, grabbed him by the back of his shirt, and took him. He said he was in a car with 3 unknown men, and they drove to a house where police eventually found him. When they got to the house, he went inside inside with the men who drove the car. The boy said he heard the men talking to his mom and heard his mom say that she was going to come and pick him up, but she never came, according to the criminal complaint. When shown photos, the boy identified Williams as the man who drove the Jeep when he was taken. The complaint says Williams told police he was contacted 2 weeks before the kidnapping by a 14-year-old who planned to rob the boy's mother. Williams said the mother, Shavon Williams, is a well-known drug dealer and flaunted money, and that he had seen her with bricks of drugs during FaceTime calls. Williams said the 14-year-old planned to rob her on July 11th, so Corey Williams left work early and borrowed his girlfriend's white Jeep Renegade, picked up the teen and another person. Those two had guns and were wearing face masks, the complaint says. Corey Williams told police the plan was to go to the mother's house and rob her at gunpoint. But when they got to her house, they didn't see her. Williams said the 14-year-old suggested robbing the boy's father, so they went to the house near 61st and Eustis. The fact that they know where everybody lives is crazy to me. Not only are they trolling people's social media, so it's giving enough hints and clues where people stay, but the fact that he said he saw her with drugs on FaceTime calls, maybe it's the person she does business with who, how are you going to see FaceTime calls? So clearly the 14-year-old has access to somebody who's doing FaceTime calls with her and seeing drugs. Okay. So this is obviously a probably a very ongoing investigation and lots of sense, because I mean, this could be this. I'm sure this is very dangerous. This boy has already been kidnapped, and then the two people are profiled who are living suspicious, have kind of suspect things going on. Let's see, the 14-year-old and the other person got out of the Jeep with handguns, then grabbed the boy and put him in the Jeep. They drove off. Corey Williams said he got into an argument with the other two about taking the boy, the complaint says. Corey Williams said the plan changed and they contacted the boy's mother that night and demanded $100,000 and jewelry in exchange for the boy. And they were going to meet at a nearby park, but she never showed up. When they became aware of the Amber Alert, Corey Williams said the teen and the other person left, leaving Williams and the boy at Williams' home. Corey Williams said there were conversations of whether the other individual or the 14-year-old should harm JDW, which I'm sure is Jamal, baby J, to show they were serious, but that was not acted upon. Williams said when police arrived at his residence, he hid in the attic and left the 7-year-old in a bedroom. The 14-year-old has been arrested. Police also arrested a 38-year-old man. The 7-year-old boy is safe in custody with Child Protective Services. A search warrant, WISN 12 News, obtained shows the suspect called Jamal's mother. The search warrant, WISN 12 News, obtained shows the suspects called Jamal's mother upwards of 40 times as her son was missing. The same court document said Shavon Williams repeatedly refused not only to provide a statement, but also to disclose information regarding the kidnapping. This impeded the police investigation. That's why they took her ass into custody. Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with it. Prosecutors filed charges Thursday against the man arrested in connection with the abduction of the 7-year-old Milwaukee boy on Friday, sparking the Amber Alert. Corey Williams, 25, is charged. Okay. All right, let's read the complaint. Let me pivot and see what you guys are saying. Oh, my bad. It's crazy, right? Girl, it's giving apple dumpling gang. Okay. Let's pivot. I'm sorry I was on the map all that time. Hold on. Let me pivot, y'all. All right, hopefully y'all can. Let me move this comment. All right, let's get into the complaint. Okay, so Corey Williams is so this was yesterday. He is going to be charged with, it shows 6 charges, so I'm not sure what he's getting. Right now, this states kidnapping, taking hostages as a party to a crime, intent contribute to the delinquency of a child. That probably has more to do with the his co-conspirator or co-defendant. But it's just showing 3 charges, but it's looking like 6 on his jacket, but it still says charges pending. So it hadn't uploaded yet, but I'm sure that'll be changing. Okay, so this is the criminal complaint. Below named complainant being duly sworn on information and belief states that count 1, kidnapping as a party to a crime. The above named defendant on or about Friday, July 11, 2025 at 6230 Eustis Street in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as a party to a crime by force or threat of imminent force did carry JDW, which is Baby J, from one place to another without the person's consent, with intent to cause the victim to be secretly confined, and with intent to cause another to transfer property to obtain the release of the victim, contrary to Wisconsin statutes. Upon conviction for this offense, Class B felony, the defendant may be sentenced to a term of imprisonment not to exceed 60 years. Okay. Count 2, taking hostages. Above named defendant on or about Friday, July 11th, 2025, on 39th Street in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as a party to a crime by force did confine Baby J without consent and intent to use the person as a hostage in order to influence a person to perform some action demand by the defendant contrary to Wisconsin statutes. Upon conviction of this offense, Class B felony, the defendant may be sentenced to a term not to exceed 60 years. Intent to contribute to the delinquency of a child, another felony. Above named defendant, Friday, July 11th, at Eustis Street in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, was a party to a crime, did intentionally encourage or contribute to the delinquency of a child, such that the child's acts that was contributed to is punishable as a felony. Upon conviction of this offense, Class H felony, the defendant could be fined not to more than $10,000 and imprisoned to 6 years. Now, this is the interesting thing. If Williams waited in the car and the other two jumped out, that means that the 14-year-old and the 38-year-old, I'm going to assume the 38-year-old is the one who grabbed the 7-year-old Baby J, and the 14-year-old ran after Baby J's dad. That's just my assumption, but let's read on, see what happens. Okay. The complaint is a police officer with City of Milwaukee and bases the following complaint upon the report from the Milwaukee Police Department. PO Xavier Rodriguez and reports that he spoke with JWSR. JWSR states that on Friday, July 11th, 2025. So, maybe that's Jamal White Sr. Okay. Jamal White Sr. stated that on Friday, July 11th at Eustis Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a white Jeep drove up in front of the residence. So basically, they were coming from a park. The dad was coming from a park. He was driving alongside his son. His son was riding his bike home, and dad was driving in the car while the boy was enjoying his little bike ride. Okay. And out of the blue, here comes the renegade, catching them off guard. So that's probably what this is going to say. Okay. A white Jeep drove up in front of his residence while his son, JDW, rode his bike out front. JWSR stated that he saw black males jump out the Jeep with guns in their hands, and then he ran inside the residence. JWSR stated the black males grabbed JDW without consent and put him in the white Jeep and fled eastbound. Detective Nicholas Wazak reports that he spoke to DRD, who stated that his surveillance video may have recorded the incident. The recording shows that at 7:12, JDW is riding his bike while the white Jeep turns and blocks the driveway of a residence on Eustis Street in Milwaukee. Two individuals get out of the Jeep. One of the individuals chases JWSR and runs into the home, and then the other individuals chase JDW and carries him back to the Jeep. The Jeep then flees after both suspects get in the Jeep. P.O. Matthew Link reports that he went to address on 39th Street in the county of Milwaukee, Wisconsin on July 12th. Officers located JDW within an upper unit. The above named defendant was located hiding in the attic of the duplex. Officers observed a pill which tested positive for methamphetamine in the defendant's pocket. Detective Rubio reports that she conducted a forensic interview with JDW on July 13th. JDW stated that when he was at his dad's house, a man chased him, grabbed him by the back of his shirt, and took him. JDW stated that he was in a car with 3 unknown men and they drove to the house where the police found him. When they got to the house, he went inside with the man who drove the car. JDW stated that he heard the man talking to his mom, SW, that's Shavon, and heard his mom say that she was going to pick him up and that she was going to come and pick him up, but never came. At this point, JDW teared up during the interview because his mom did not pick him up. Girl, Detective Rubio conducted a photo array with JDW. JDW identified the above named defendant as the person who drove the Jeep when he was taken. Detective Matthew Bugman reports that he conducted a Mirandized interview with the defendant. In the interview, the defendant stated that about 2 weeks prior, BC contacted the defendant. So BC might be the 14-year-old because it says 2010. Okay. BC contacted the defendant with the intention to rob the mother of JDW, SW. So Shavon. So the mother of baby J, Shavon Williams. Okay. The defendant claimed that SW is a well-known drug dealer and flaunted money, and that he had seen her with bricks of drugs during FaceTime calls between BC and SW. What? He had seen her with bricks of drugs during FaceTime calls between BC and SW. The defendant stated that BC called him July 11th to try to rob SW that day. The defendant stated that he left work early that day, borrowed his girlfriend KA's white Jeep Renegade, and picked up BC. The defendant stated that they removed the license plate from the Jeep and that BC and another individual under investigation at this time both bought guns to commit the robbery. The plan was to go to SW's residence and rob her at gunpoint. The defendant stated that they left his house around 5 p.m. that day and drove to SW's residence. The defendant stated that he was the driver of the Jeep. BC was in the rear passenger and the other individual was in the front passenger seat. Both BC and the other individual were wearing masks. The defendant stated that when they got to SW's residence, they waited for her but never saw SW. BC then suggested they rob JWSR, Jamal White Sr., SW's child's father, instead. Friday, July 11th, on Eustis Street in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they drove in the Jeep to that residence and saw JDW and his father, JWSR, in front of the residence. JDW, baby J, was riding a bike at the time. BC and the other individual exited the Jeep with handguns and ran at JWSR. Daddy. JWSR ran into the house and BC grabbed JDW. So BC must be a big 14-year-old and grabbed the 7-year-old. BC took JDW into the Jeep, and then the defendant drove away with all 4 individuals at a high rate of speed. The defendant stated that while driving away, he got into an argument with BC and the other individual for taking JDW. The defendant stated that the plan then changed and the other individual contacted SW later that night and demanded $100,000 in jewelry in exchange for JDW, and they were going to meet at a nearby park. The defendant asked that he was originally promised $10,000 for his part, but demanded more after JDW was taken. The defendant stated that SW never showed for the meeting, and once they became aware of the Amber Alert for JDW, BC and the other individual left JDW and the defendant at the defendant's residence. The defendant stated that there were conversations of whether the other individual or BC should harm Baby J to show they were serious, but that was not acted upon. The defendant finally stated that when police arrived to the residence, he hid in the attic and left JDW in a bedroom. Detective Margaret DeVito reports that she reviewed the phone call records of the defendant. The records show that he made nearly 40 star 67 calls to the mother of JDW between 7:33 on July 11th and 2:39 a.m. Detective DeVito also observed phone calls between the defendant and other suspected individuals not named M stated that BC had any property. AAM stated that if BC had any property in the residence, it would be in the basement where the firearm was found. Okay, so they said if there's anything here, it's in the basement, and that's where they found the gun. Detective Colwell also reviewed recorded phone calls where BC spoke to other individuals about his plan to rob SW that he had with the defendant, and that he also talked about the kidnapping between July 10th and July 15th. Notice of intent to introduce forensic interview at the trial. Pursuant to Wisconsin statutes, the state of Wisconsin, by Assistant District Attorney Kenneth Olstinski, hereby advises the court that the defendant that it will offer into evidence at trial video recorded statements of JDW, who is presently 7 years old. The video recorded statements of the child was conducted July 13th. The statement was taken at Child Protection Center. The video camera operator was Elizabeth Rubio. Baby, end of complaint. Let's watch the video one more time. Hold on, let me go back. Isn't this a mess? Okay, let me see. Is this it? That's not the one. Oh, this is it.
so much. Turning now to a disturbing story. New details from the abduction of a 7-year-old boy in Milwaukee.
The DA's office filing formal charges against a 25-year-old accused of being one of the masked men who took Jamal White at gunpoint last Friday. The court documents painting a disturbing picture of the alleged role Corey Williams played that day.
For more details tonight, we're joined in studio by Adam Reif. Adam?
Well, Natalie and Jessup, authorities say this was a botched.
Is someone saying no sound? The sound? Okay. Since when? Okay, hold on. I'm not sure what's going on. Let's see. Is there a problem with the sound, y'all? Or is one or two people having problems with sound? Hold on. Okay, there's no problem with sound. If you are having problem with sound, that might be a you problem. Exit the app and come back. We'll give you about 5 seconds. Exit the app and come back. How are you going to run in a house while somebody is snatching your kid? They skewered him. I'll pull that up before we go. They skewered him on because people die trying to save their kids. You know what I mean? Your kid's in harm's way. People jump in front of trains, cars, buses. They run into bullets. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know why he would run up into the house. Meanwhile, he knows his kid was behind him. I get it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, it's very much possible that had he not gone in the house, a 14-year-old with a gun, y'all, I'm just going to say he could have got killed. Like, let's just be real here. A 14-year-old, a 38-year-old who is being masterminded by a 14-year-old. These are some probably intellectually deficient adults. The 25 and the 38-year-old who is going to be run by a 14-year-old criminal plot. And then you got a gun in the hand of a 14-year-old who came up with this plot, even though it sounds dangerous. It sounds like somebody who's going to act first, think later. And it's possible. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, because I would step in front of a car. I would step in front of a train. I would fall off a cliff. And I know my husband would too. I would stand in front of a bullet for my daughter. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be trying to get out the way. I would be getting in the way to protect her, right? But I don't know. I wasn't there. I just feel like, just thinking about it now, it's quite possible that had they not split up, they could have got the father, and we don't know what would have happened. It's possible baby Jay could have seen his father murdered. You never know. You know what I mean? So in this case, it did end up working out, but it is very much, they're dragging him for being lame. They're dragging him for being not a good father, for all of those things, for fleeing and kind of leaving his son to fend for himself. His response is he taught his son what to do in the time of an emergency. And the boy, I guess, saw what was happening. You can see in the video, he kind of drops his bike and he starts running. Even though, honestly, if he could have zipped off on his bike, that might have been better. But God only, these people had guns. We don't know what they would have done. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what they would have done. But we know what they did do, which was steal a boy. So that's crazy enough, right? Would they have, if you're going to steal a man's son, would you take his life? If you were already trying to rob a woman, not to say she's virtuous or anything. I mean, they say she was a known drug dealer. Let me drop my banner. According to this news report, and according to what the statement in the complaint is that ma'am allegedly is a known drug dealer. So we don't even know what they were going to do to her. So I don't know. I'm not going to really fault the man because he's already getting dragged. So I'm sure he's been dragged enough. you know, and probably regrets his decision for appearing to be saving himself over his child. But I guess the good thing is that it did work out because the boy is safe, but he still had to deal with that drama. I'm curious to know, which I'm sure we'll find out eventually, is did she ever call police? They said she refused to give statements. So did she ever call police to let them know, like, hey, I'm getting all kinds of ransom calls. People are reaching out to me. They want me to come meet them at a park. Like, did she communicate any of this to the police? But they basically said in the report that she refused to give statements and she impeded the investigation. So I would say the answer to my question is she probably did not. So that's crazy, right? All right, let's listen to this. If you're just now coming in, we had a lot of detail, so it's kind of hard to get you caught up. So definitely slide the bar back, but we went through the whole entire criminal complaint for Corey Williams. I'm sure if they're going to formally charge Miss Shavon, that her complaint is coming, and then we'll see. I don't know if they'll give us the juvenile delinquent, but we'll get the 38-year-old. He's currently being investigated. So, you know, this is a developing story still because Corey Williams was not the only one, but it seems like he is cooperating and giving information. So I don't know if that helps him at all, because even though he drove the getaway car, the two people who physically did the actual snatching and grabbing and plotting and planning, would be the 14-year-old, I think, would have the boatload of charges, and then the 38-year-old would probably have the same, contributing to a delinquency of a minor, kidnapping, and all of those other things. So, okay.
Turning now to a disturbing story. New details from the abduction of a 7-year-old boy in Milwaukee.
The DA's office filing formal charges against a 25-year-old accused of being one of the masked men who took Jamal White at gunpoint last Friday. The court documents painting a disturbing picture of the alleged role Corey Williams played that day.
For more details tonight, we're joined in studio by Adam Reif. Adam?
Well, Natalie and Jessup, authorities say this was a botched robbery that turned into a ransom case. 7-year-old Jamal White dragged into a car at gunpoint last Friday when 3 would-be robbers did not find their...
When you see that video, though, Jamal was booking. Little baby Jamal, he dropped his bike and he started running to the back of the house. He did a good job. It's, you know, obviously he was probably trying to run, stay closer to the house. If he had stayed on that damn sidewalk, though, that boy probably would not have followed him all the way down the street, and then more neighbors would have seen it, obviously. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not the best thing to do to go run to an enclosed space. It's to stay out in the open. But wow, I cannot. I mean, me personally, I think they both could have been killed. They could have easily both been shot and killed, which would have been horrible. So even though Jamal Sr., it didn't look like the right thing he did, we won't know. We'll never know, but they both probably could have been killed right there in the front yard. You know what I'm saying?
Joined in studio by Adam Reif. Adam?
Well, Natalie and Jessup, authorities say this was a botched robbery that turned into a ransom case. 7-year-old Jamal White dragged into a car at gunpoint last Friday when 3 would-be robbers did not find their intended target. One of the men arrested said it was all the idea of a 14-year-old boy.
I cannot believe it.
The original plan was to rob Jamal White's mother, according to suspect Corey Williams. Williams was arrested and charged with 3 felonies for being the driver last Friday. A 14-year-old boy and 38-year-old man were also arrested. Williams claimed Jamal's mother was a known drug dealer who flaunted her money. Williams drove his girlfriend's Jeep. The other 2 brought guns, but when they did not see Jamal's mother, they went to his father's house to rob him instead. Surveillance video shows the 14-year-old and 38-year-old jump out of their car with guns drawn.
So you see Jamal drop his bike, he runs to the back,
from a neighbor captured
and then they caught him.
The kidnappers sped off to Williams's house. The 38-year-old called Jamal's mother and demanded $100,000 plus jewelry in exchange for the boy. They were to meet at a nearby park.
He looks
Jamal later
slow.
told police he heard his mother on the phone say she would come pick him up, but he teared up in the interview when he said she never showed.
That's
Williams
gonna
told
hurt him for the
investigators
rest of
the
his
other
life.
two kidnappers talked about hurting Jamal to show they were serious, but that never happened. When an Amber Alert went out around midnight, the other two left Williams's house. And when police moved in on the duplex the next day, Williams hid in the attic. Jamal was safely recovered in the upstairs unit. Williams was found and arrested. The 14-year-old was later arrested at his house. A black hand.
I'm wondering if any of the neighbors saw what happened, because that's a duplex house. How did when they pulled up with that white Jeep and the white Jeep was all over the news? Come on. Somebody probably saw something, because they got tipped off within less than 24 hours what was going on. And you see people outside talking to the police. Girl, I think someone had to have seen something.
Gun was found under a couch cushion in the basement.
The criminal complaint says there are recorded phone calls in which the 14-year-old talks about the plan to rob Jamal's mother. And Natalie and Jessup, neither the 14-year-old or the 38-year-old have been charged yet. Their names have not yet been released.
Adam Reif, live in studio. Thank you. All right, how about a little fun stuff for you? Happening right now, a taste of France.
Let's see.
Staying in Madison.
Okay. Just 1 second. Let me shut this down. Okay. Yeah, crazy, right? Okay, if you're just coming in, slide the bar back. We went through the criminal complaint. It answers a lot of questions we've had. As far as the rumor about it being a GoFundMe plot, I don't believe that's accurate, but I don't know if there was a subplot to the plot. Did the mother call the father? They had him, so they had the dad at police headquarters for hours. They said they brought him in like he was some sort of criminal, and were questioning him what he knew. Shavon wasn't answering the phone, and the twin brother. So what happened with the twin is that there were people out looking for, there were search parties out, and he was shooting at the damn search party. So he didn't shoot at the Jeep Renegade. I don't know what he saw, but he saw something. Girl, he started shooting outside the house on Eustis, and they picked him up for that. That's why he's in jail. He was reckless with his firearm and shooting at people. And he said that's why he said he was scared for his family. And I'm not really sure, we'll have to find out more about that, but he was tripping. And the two men on the outside, obviously one is Jamal, one is Jamal. They are twins. Okay. So the twin brothers, the baby mom, and Corey Williams. Coincidentally, Shavon and Corey have the same last name. I do not believe that there's any relation as far as I know. This story keeps getting weirder and weirder. So we can't really, I don't know if they're related or not. People have been asking that. It could just be a coincidence, because White and Williams, if you got the list of the top 20 names in the United States that are super duper common, baby, Williams, White, Jones, Smith, it's up there with Smith. I think Smith or Smith probably is number one. But it's got to be in the top 20 most common last names. So it's not out of the ordinary for someone, you know what I mean? It is interesting that in this case, there's the assailant is Williams. But the sad part, can we talk about this, is that the mother, I mean, she didn't cooperate. There's no reason. Okay, so they're calling for ransom. She wouldn't cooperate with the police to tell them what's going on, but you also didn't show up. You take the phone calls. They say that they called her 40 times. They called her up to 40 times. She said she would come meet. She said she would come pick up the boy, and she never Johnson Jones, all of that. Top 20. That's crazy. They always say in hostage situations that you should not negotiate with hostage, in a hostage situation, but she wasn't working with the police, so it made her look bad. If she is a known drug dealer, they might have her in jail right now just to get the search warrant to go through her shit. Like, they may not really have a charge as it pertains to the boy, unless, okay, so like CPS, you're endangering your child by not responding, not cooperating in a police investigation where your son's life is at risk. But on top of that, they might be going through her shit right now. They took her phone. They probably have access to her house, get a search warrant, and figure out, oh, you're a well-known drug dealer. And you know what I'm saying? This time that they got her sitting in the county could be to go through her shit and figure out what was actually really going on. She was probably trying to hide her stash, get rid of her product, whatever she had going on. Yes, we looked at her social media page. Yes. If you missed that part, let's see. We just looked at that. Hold on a second. We'll go take a look at it again. Just a second. Baby. Let me share my screen. And then we'll look at the dads, and I'm gonna let y'all go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. All right. So she posted, my son was found. It's like, bitch. And I hate to say it like that. But baby, come on. You were doing way too little to actually be talking about my son was found. You knew. It's not even, I'm not going to say you knew where your son was the whole time, but baby, they say they called you 40 times. They checked the phone records. There were 40 phone calls registered to you from the kidnapper. What are you talking about? My son was found. What you talking about, sis? My son was found. You could have been had your son. You could have cooperated with the police and gave them the information so they could find the boy. You could have set up a whole entire thing and they would have been at the park instead of you. What are you talking about? But then, she's got her little see-through Lululemon. And is that a Lululemon? Yes. Fanny pack, girl walking around with a ton of money. That's what happens. You want to post up and show everybody what you got. If you are in a situation, some people are going to come and get it. You want to play like you want people to know, somebody might want to come get it. Okay. This is mom. It's sad that the boy had to be at CPS. It's crazy because they didn't give the baby back to the dad. The kid's not with grandparents. The kid is at, I guess they just need to figure out what is really going on before they put him into anyone's care and custody, because ma'am got stuff going on. And we don't know what the dad had going on. I mean, he could be a hardworking, hardworking dude with a regular job and all of those kind of stuff. We don't really know what was going on. I would not have suspected that she was dealing drugs. That's what they're saying. I don't know if that's true or not. That's allegedly. Um, I wouldn't have, I thought she had like a little store. Maybe I thought she was making body butters and oils. Maybe she was doing hair. I didn't know what she did. There are people who make legitimate coin. Okay. So my first thought was not that she was a drug dealer, but apparently that's what they're saying about her. I didn't know what she was doing. I'm be honest. She had him dressed in his cute little two-piece sets. Okay. Baby J is clean. That's the only thing I can say. Cause I'm definitely side-eyeing her withholding information from the police and people got your boy. You gotta be kidding me. But he does appear to be well taken care of. He's on vacation. I don't want to say she doesn't love her kid, but damn girl, you got damn kidnappers calling you. What did you think was going to happen? How could you drag your feet or withhold information from the baby getting help? And then he's sitting there tearing up when he's telling the police what happened. Poor thing. Oh, I think they went to Myrtle Beach, actually. If I remember, I was looking through her page and it said something about maybe they had gone to Myrtle Beach. I'm not sure. But she's got him matching with her and, but people have to understand, people are watching and envying. Also, when you put out way too much, like it really could have been like, sis, you doing too much. You were showing too much. Doing too much, showing too much. And the man, Corey, was sitting up there liking her picture. He was up in her likes. So this is what she had going on. Just as, girl, I didn't know if she worked it. You know what I'm saying? Look, I don't want to put everything on the strip club, but I didn't know what she was doing for a living. I couldn't really assume. I was shocked when I saw drug dealer. I was like, oh, really? Okay. That's what was going on? Okay. So they were traveling. I don't know who that was supposed to be. It means who's that? I don't know. Oh, that's Baby J. There he is, his little posting him up with his head cut off. I don't get that, but okay. But he's over there. Is she selling? See, so she had stuff posted. Like it seemed like she was selling stuff. I don't know if she was selling. She had like a little store going on. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna be honest with you. It seemed like she was into a lot. But I don't know that she was with Homeboy anymore. All right, let me pull up his page, the dad. He was getting, like I said, he was getting a lot of scrutiny for not protecting his son when the robbers showed up. But I don't know. I mean, it was a split-second decision. I don't know. It really could have gone so many different directions. And then he finally stopped posting, which was a good idea. So this is the dad's Facebook over here. And so then he's kind of being a little snarky. Like, first I set it up. Then my brother kidnapped my son. Now I'm wrong for leaving my son. I know fucked up. Y'all ain't gotta tell me my son good though. Y'all wanted to paint every picture of me to be the bad guy. I can't win with y'all, but I won with my kid. Remember this, the internet. It wasn't a good look. And then so there's the brother. I think you guys already all saw this. The brother was arrested, but he got, do they show his charges over here? Let's see. I'm going to pull it up. He had like some sort of reckless, like, let me just look it up on Milwaukee. Hold on. Milwaukee. He might be out. Who knows? Let's see. Jamal. Okay. He's got first degree recklessly endanger. All right, hold on. Let's go look here. Just a second. It's loading. Yeah, no. He's got to be hurt thinking about his mom not coming to pick him up. That's devastating. Like, he's not going to forget that anytime soon. Because at the end of the day, sis, you didn't come. You didn't even send the police. The police had to figure it out like a whole day later. And then they're sitting up there talking about hurting him. And he's 7 years old and he's telling the police this. He's going to remember that. It's awful. Okay, it's not pulling up. Hold on. Girl's probably crashing the site. Everyone's probably looking. All right, all right, there's his mugshot. That's his uncle. That's Baby J's uncle. That's his dad's twin. You guys know that, right? Okay, let's go back here. I'm trying to get to the docket. It's not loading for some reason. Guys, if you have not hit the thumbs up, go ahead and hit the thumbs up for me. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like if you're on Facebook. If you're not following, if you did not like the page, go ahead and handle that business. Double tap your screen for me. I so appreciate it. The dad's going to be a meme. But, you know, I'm going to say this. The dad's going to be a meme for not making the right, you know, the optics looked really bad, right? But the mom, I'm sorry. The mom, hands down, it's like, can you stop posting your son at this moment? These people called you 40 times and you did not help the police find your son. The police had to get it out the mud, but thank God for Milwaukee Police Department. They did their thing and they handled the business without the help of the mother who got called 40 times by the kidnappers. Okay? Which that's why your ass got dragged into jail. And now they're probably all up in your stuff. And if you had helped them, you maybe wouldn't be in jail. Maybe you would be under investigation because they say you out here trapping, but you might have been able to preserve your relationship with your son. Your son has been spending nights over at the CPS place. Okay? Like not cool. Oh, she's still sitting. If I could get to the Milwaukee courts, I could show you. Okay, so here's Jamal. Hold on. All right, let me refresh. Hold on. All right, let's see. Okay. There's Shavon. She's still on hold. Not to mention, I think she might be on probation. I heard, but I'm not sure. Her charges still show as pending. They're probably trying to figure out what the hell's going on with her. So she could be getting charged for impeding the investigation. That could definitely be something. It could also be a CPS case. So number one, she could get a CPS case. She probably could get lying to police officers or impeding an investigation. And then they probably all up in her shit at the house. They're probably looking to her as far as, okay, they say you're a drug dealer out here. And because of that, you put your son in jeopardy. She's in some trouble. She's definitely in some trouble. Okay, let me pivot now onto Corey. Let's see if it pulls up. Okay. This is the dummy. This is the one. He's got $75,000 bond. Ma'am had $10,000 bond. Corey has 75, and it's showing 6 cases. I don't know. We only saw 3 on the complaint. So if you're late coming in, we read this whole complaint, and it's kidnapping, taking hostages, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor, because the mastermind allegedly, so okay, a mess. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to hold y'all. I'm going to go over to Love Lies and Lace Fronts in a minute, and I'll see you guys at lunchtime. But yeah, this is like the full update. I'm sure this is not the last we're going to hear about this, because Shavon doesn't have her charges yet. If she does, it hasn't been registered, so I'm checking on it. Keep in mind, the twin brother uncle of Baby J has really nothing to do with his kidnapping. He started tripping after the kidnapping and started shooting outside in front of his father's house because he was scared. He was nervous. He didn't know what was going on. He saw some people. He thought something was up and came outside tripping and shooting. And there were search parties out looking, and that's why he was arrested. And he's got what's his bond again? I forgot that quick. Hold on. So Corey Williams has 10. Thank you so much, H. Cook. Twin brother uncle. So Corey Williams has $75,000 bond. Let me show you guys again, just so we'll document it on here. Hold on real quick. Okay. Let me pivot this over here so I can make it big. Hold on. Okay. We got that. 75,000, right? And then let's see if this works. Is this going to cooperate with me? Okay, good. Then we got Shavon. Shavon got $10,000. Hopefully y'all can see this. We're still pending on her charges. And then we got and he has it's showing 4, but I think it's really 2. The use of dangerous weapon, and I'm trying to connect with Wisconsin with the circuit court. It's not allowing me in. Let me try it one more time. I might have to hit it a different way. It's just not connecting. Okay. Okay, and his bond is $20,000. But, who knows what the stipulations are? They showed him as indigent and needing a public defender. And I mean, but it could be a 10%, but who knows what they got going on? You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, these people are victims. So I don't know what they have going on, but they may be stipulating we need to see paycheck stubs, bank statements, before we're going to accept money, because, you got a known drug dealer in the midst, allegedly. and being the baby mom. So not that that has anything to do with the baby dad, because he may have a job and all of those things, but to be able to get his twin brother out or whomever, you know, is some coin. Thank you, H. Cook. Let me see if I can get to the Wisconsin circuit. Hold on a second. Milwaukee, excuse me. Milwaukee. It was just not wanting to cooperate with me. Milwaukee circuit. Let's see. I mean, it could be down, but I would think it's going to get up soon because, baby, it's morning time. All right, that's not the one. I'm not sure what's going on. It's not circuit court case search. Girl, I don't know if the site cracked. You know, everybody could be looking this morning. I don't know if it's crashing the site or what, but it's not cooperating. When I see y'all later and I can pull up the jackets, I will. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Please take a minute to hit the thumbs up. Please do. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, I don't want to drag this out. I don't want this to be too long. It's already too long. Let me let y'all go. I will see you guys a little bit later. I'll see you over on Love Lies and Lace Fronts in a bit. And then I'll see you over here later. Maybe at lunchtime, like 12-ish, 1-ish, something like that. Okay. All right, guys. You guys take care. Thank you for coming through this morning. I'll see you again later. Bye, guys.